Martina has a loss for words, so she had me come up here. Thank you, Martina.
Big loud.
Thank you so much, Martina. Woohoo! Let's give a clap for Martina. And Berea Eats Free, Kids Eat Free, and the library. And am I missing anybody else? Thank you, tourism, for posting this. I'll just say that. So we're just going to do a couple children's songs, and then Rod Eisenberg is going to be doing the blessing. I'm Charlena.
And a little story.
And a little story. And does anybody want to use this? Anybody want to do a little shaker? Oh, come on. There's some adults with faces like are like, yeah, I really want to do it. Want to do it? Look at, see, I told you. I knew it. I knew it. And who wished that they had said they wanted to do it? Because here's another one. Come on, come on, come on.
She wants one.
Jenny Eisenberg. Thank you. Oh, that's not what she was thinking? What you all are thinking is you are cold and you want to do the hora, right? Well, that's not what we're singing. I have a little dreidel. And all the children want to come up front. I have a little dreidel. I made it out of clay. When it's dry and ready, the dreidel I shall play. Dreidel, 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 made it out of clay. Dreidel, 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 dreidel I shall play. It has a lovely body with eggs so short and thin. And when it's all tired, it drops and then I win. Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Dreidel, 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 dreidel I shall play. Okay, I realize some of you do not know the words of this song. So, the words are dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Oh, dreidel, 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 dreidel I shall play. Okay? Can we all do that together? All right, here we go. Don't worry what you sound like, because I can't hear you anyways with this hat on my head. You ready? Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Dreidel, 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 now dreidel I shall play. Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Dreidel, 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 now dreidel I shall play. My dreidel's always playful, it loves to sit and spin. A happy game of dreidel. Now come and let's begin. Are you guys ready? Here we go. Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Dreidel, 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 now dreidel I shall play. Dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Dreidel, 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 now dreidel I shall, big ending, play. Woohoo! One more. Fun, fun, fun. Oh Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Who knows this song? Rod and there's a few. Oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance a hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. While we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah. Oh Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance a hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Dreidels to play with and latkes to eat. While we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. Rod is next.
Hello, everyone. I should say Hag Sameach in Hebrew. Happy holiday. We are celebrating Hanukkah, and my family are Jewish, and so we and our kids have celebrated this like forever, for a long time. I'm older than the hills, so I've been doing this for a while. But I thought I'd give us just a little 5-minute history of Hanukkah. We have a couple of symbols from Hanukkah. See the snowman over there, Frosty or whatever that thing is? He's got a great big dreidel with him, right? And we just sang about that. So what's the dreidel about? And we have the other big symbol is the Hanukkah menorah, which is a Hanukkah. It's not the same as the menorah that was in the Jewish temple. It's a little bit different. There are 9 branches, not 7. And so I'm going to tell just a little tiny bit of history about where Hanukkah came from and why we play dreidel and light the menorah. So if you're a history buff, you probably know about Alexander the Great, right? He conquered a huge empire all the way from Europe through Africa, all the way over to India, and then had the bad grace to die right after he conquered everything. And his kingdom was broken up into 4 kingdoms from his 4 generals, and one of those ended up being the Seleucid Empire, of which Israel was a part of. So they were kind of taken over by a king whose name was Antiochus. And we'll start there with Antiochus IV. His father, he liked the Jews, okay? And so he let the Jewish people practice their religion and let the temple stay in Israel. But Antiochus IV, his son, I think it was his second son, he was very, very anti-Jewish, and he was very intent on imposing Greek culture or Hellenistic culture in all of his empire, which stretched from Egypt through Syria all the way into Europe. And so what he did is he forbade Jews to teach Torah to their children. He forbade them to do any of their religious practices. He shut down the temple, and instead of the sacrifices that the Jews were normally doing in the temple, he put up a statue of Zeus, because this was the prime Greek god, and then ordered pigs to be sacrificed in the temple to Zeus. And you can imagine that the Jewish people didn't like this very well. So they would still wanted to teach their children the Torah, and so it's usually taught in community in small groups, and the children and their parents would be out in the streets or places, and they would be playing or they would be studying the Torah. And the police would come along, or the soldiers would come along, and that's forbidden. And so instead of arresting them, what they would do is they would whip out a dreidel and gelt, money, and they would pretend to be gambling. And so that's where the dreidel came from. And so we play dreidel with that. Now the dreidel has 4 symbols on it, 4 Hebrew letters: a nun, a gimel, a hey, and a shin. And in Hebrew, it stands for Nes Gadol Hayasham, or a great miracle happened there. If you happen to be in Israel, it's a little bit different. It's Nes Gadol Hayapo, a great miracle happened here. Okay, so now we know about the dreidel. They use that as a subterfuge to pretend to be gambling when actually they were studying the Torah. And so it got worse. The temple was taken over and desecrated by the Greeks. They were sacrificing pigs to Zeus, and they were forcing the Jewish priests to do this. And so what happened was there was a revolt. There was a Jewish priest named Mattatyahu, and he had 5 sons, and he said, I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to participate in it. And so they started a revolt. And they did 3 years of guerrilla warfare in the mountains of Judea around there, attacking the Greeks. And they were very small, kind of like at Thermopylae. Very, very few people held off a whole huge army. Well, eventually they won over the Greeks. When Mattatyahu died, his son Judah became the military leader. And I think world wrestling was in vogue then, because his name was Judah the Hammer. okay? And that's what Maccabee means, is hammer. So he was Judah the hammer, and they fought for 3 years in the guerrilla warfare, and finally they defeated the Greeks, and they came back in and they took over the temple and went in, and it was defiled. There was pig's blood everywhere, all kinds of things. It was terrible. So they cleaned it up and rededicated it to God. And that's where the festival of Hanukkah, the name Hanukkah means dedication. So it's the festival of dedication. And when they went in, our legends tell us that they went in and they found one pot of olive oil that was specially prepared for lighting a 7-branch menorah that's supposed to be always lit. And as part of the dedication, they relit that with the one pot of oil. And it takes 8 days. It took another 7 days after that in order to prepare more olive oil, because you have to prepare it from the olives, and there's a special process. And it took 7 days for it to be consecrated. And legend has it that the oil in that one pot lasted all 8 days. And so, partly because of that, we have an 8-day festival that we light candles to remind us of that. And we eat lots of things that are deep fat fried in olive oil. We eat latkes until we're sick of them. Latkes are essentially Jewish hash browns. The potatoes and other things that are deep fat fried in olive oil. We had some last night at our house, or Friday night at our house. And the donuts with jam in the middle of them, that is another, especially in Israel, that's traditional. They're called sufganiyot, and they're essentially jam-filled donuts, and they're deep fat fried in olive oil. So that's, in short, the story of Hanukkah. I hope you enjoy it, and I think now we're going to light the menorah candle, and we'll sing a couple of blessings in English and in Hebrew. Let me put this down for just a moment. My hand's getting cold. In the Jewish world, as we're told, there is a blessing for everything, okay? And so we have blessings for the holiday, and I have a siddur here, which has some of the blessings in it. And so this is what we use with our family and our synagogue in Lexington. So I'm going to read a couple of the blessings and then sing them in Hebrew for us. And then somebody gets to go and light the candles. Now, the way we light the candles is there are actually 9 of them. And we light the middle one, which is kind of set apart and it's different. And it's called the servant or the shamash candle. And that is used to light the other candles. And in our tradition, the first night of Hanukkah, we light the servant candle and 1 candle. The second night, we light 2 candles, 3 candles, 4, and all the way up to 8. And our kids love it because you're not supposed to do anything with the candles. You're just supposed to enjoy them. And so my kids would sit and enjoy them, and they would play with the wax as it melted and just make a horrible mess. But that was half the fun. So we're going to sing a couple of blessings, and then we'll light the candles. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to light the Hanukkah lights. And in Hebrew, this will go something like this. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. And then on the first night, we're really glad that God has brought us to this season, and we're still alive and we're doing okay. So we always sing this blessing. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has kept us and sustained us and enabled us to reach this season. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehekianu v'ki'imanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. So, let's light the candles. Who gets to do that? I'm not allowed to play with fire or electricity in my house.
We're pretending to light.
That's right. Actually, my kids use this kind of one.
Different. He does opposite of mine, right?
There you go. if you're a student in a college dorm, you can't have candles. So my kids have electric ones in their dorm. So this is kosher for Hanukkah. All right, hugs the back, everyone.